What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Flow State with yours truly, Harry Mack. My guest today is about to come out with his 18th cookbook, a certified legend. Get ready for Bobby Flay.
This is for my flow state. Add it, yeah. Y'all know we back at it. Ain't it crazy how the mind works magic? We gon' show you the method behind the madness, cause this is for my flow.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Flow State with yours truly, Harry Mack. I'm super excited for my guest today. This guy's a true legend, an award-winning chef, beloved television personality, the author of 17 best-selling cookbooks, with the 18th hitting shelves this October. He's been on dozens of Food Network programs as the star. He's won 5 Daytime Emmy Awards. He's the first chef to ever have a star on the Hollywood Boulevard Walk of Fame. What else can I say, man? This cat is a real legend. We're so excited to have him here, my friends. Please welcome the great Bobby Flay.
Thanks, Harry. I have to say, that was the best intro ever.
Really?
Yeah, can I just, when I need an intro, I'm just going to call you.
Please, man.
That was amazing.
We'll do it live. We'll also send you that so you can just, play that anytime you go
God,
anywhere.
that was so good. I just want to start off by saying that I want to set the record straight for anybody listening to this, is that, your crew didn't reach out to me. I was like, I'm a huge admirer of yours, and I was like, I want to talk to this guy.
Hell yeah.
Because, listen, you're from this generation of people who, if you want to have a platform, you can have it.
Yep.
My generation, we had to be asked to be on a platform like the television.
Right.
Right? Which sounds like very, very old school at this point. But the bottom line is, being able to see somebody like you, make your own path is amazing. And
thank you.
I have, people don't know this about me, but I grew up in New York City.
Right.
And I watched hip hop come alive.
Right.
That was my generation. I was, it was like Treacherous 3 and, Super Rhymes and Spoonie G and all these people like that. And in some ways, I hope you take this as a compliment. Your flow, your approach to what you do has a lot of old school to it, because you're an amazing storyteller.
Thank you, man.
And
I definitely take that as a compliment.
Listen, there's all kinds of style of rap and hip hop, but to me, there's something that reminds me of when I was first listening to this stuff come alive. That reminds me of you, and this is decades later.
Yeah.
And but the other thing that I'm so drawn to about you is that I think you're like a magician.
Yeah.
And like a magician, they'll do a trick for you and blow you out of the, I'm sure you met some of the great magicians of the world. They'll do something right in front of you and it blows your mind.
Yeah.
Okay. You do the same thing to me, because when I watch you go into these crowds, you were in Madison Square Park in my neighborhood.
That's right.
And you just, hey, throw out some words and this and that. The bottom line is, I don't know how you do it. And it's not really teachable.
Right.
I'm sure you could give people tips, and I hear you you listen to somebody do some freestyle, and then you'll say, hey, listen, I think this was good, but maybe you could try this.
Yep.
Absolutely. But getting you to actually teach somebody how to do that is probably almost an impossibility. You happen to have this amazing skill and this gift, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to let you talk in a second, but I'm
No,
going to set.
Oh my God, keep going.
And so,
please.
And so, when I was thinking about my attraction to what you do, it also started reminding me a little bit of what I do, except the difference is, food competition shows now are a big deal, and they throw ingredients at you and you have to make dishes, right?
Right.
That's sort of a very common theme in some of my shows, some other shows, whatever.
Yeah.
But the difference is that we're showing you how to do it.
Right.
You're not showing us anything. You're just telling us what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so I'm mesmerized by that, and I feel like you and I have my profession and your profession, or I shouldn't say your profession, but your skill to do that has a little bit in common with what I do. If you said, take these 4 ingredients, what would you do? I could tell you what I might make as a dish, and I'd have to show it to you in a kitchen.
Right.
But when people throw words at you, you're like, okay, wait, okay, and then you just start freestyling. It's mind blowing. It's seriously,
Thank you, Bobby.
honestly,
you, man. Seriously,
it's amazing, and
man.
I wish the best for you. I hope
bro.
you blow up even bigger than you are today forever. Because you have the skills.
Man.
You have the skills.
Yo.
You have the foundation.
Bro.
There's no joke here at all. You know?
I know you mean every word. I'm so appreciative, man. Thank you so much. I mean, likewise, I'm blown away by what you do. And that is one of the things I wanted to talk about, and we'll get into it, is, the role of improv in the kitchen. Because you're a great improviser too, man. Like you say, your version of getting thrown 3 words is getting thrown these 3, seemingly disparate ingredients that at first glance you'd be like, how the hell could this ever go with this?
Right.
And you have the talent and the ability, and I'm sure you've built that up over time, to be able to bring those things together and make it taste delicious to the point where no one would ever guess, oh, wow, that's really this and this. I mean,
yeah, but going back to like how I compared what you do to what I do sometimes is that, you have these words that people throw out at you.
Yeah.
And then you bind them together with some base and foundation of what you do every single day. Right?
Yes.
I do the same thing.
Right.
So like if you said to me I'm just literally making it up. If you said, give me like basil, pine nuts, and chili peppers, I'd be like, all right, I can make all those things. I can make a pesto with those ingredients, but what am I going to do? Well, I might wrap it around a foundation like some pasta or some rice. So like that becomes like the foundation of my freestyle.
Right.
But then I'm bringing the flavor with the ingredients.
Yes. Yeah, it's so, there are so many parallels. It's kind of crazy. It's the same for me. It's like the connective material that I'm using to navigate from one word to the next. A lot of that stuff is like, my basics, my foundation, my sort of like way that I'm able to create that connective material and make these like 5 words that seem so random come together into the same verse and seem like they make sense with each other.
But have you always been able to do this as a kid?
No, I mean, so I think about this a lot.
Yeah.
Because what I do is perceived by most people as a magic trick.
Yeah.
Like when I do a freestyle on the street in front of people, most people have never attempted to freestyle or thought about how it might work. And so to them, it's just like seemingly impossible.
Right.
It's like, how would anybody ever be able to do that? And so as a result, like people will come up to me and be like, wow, man, like that's amazing. You must just, how does it feel to wake up one day and be blessed with this, incredible ability? And I've thought about it a lot because to me, it feels like I didn't wake up and have the ability. It feels like I've built it up gradually over time.
Sure.
A lot of work has gone into refining it and trying to figure out how to do it. And, my first freestyle was done when I was 10 years old in my friend Brady's attic.
Of course.
We're just messing around. We're fans of, Freestyle Friday, 106 in Park. We're watching those battles and getting our little minds blown, you know, and trying to figure out how to do something that could even come close to the energy that we're feeling through the television screen watching these programs. And I'm sure, I wish we had a recording of my first freestyle because I don't think it would have that same magical appeal. I don't think it was very good.
No, because now you're polishing your skills.
Exactly.
Right.
But I used to think that it was all about the hard work. Nowadays, I do feel like, there's a spark that I was born with. And even if that's just my genetic breakdown, my brain is oriented in a certain way so as to be skilled as an improviser, through my training. It could be something like that. But I'm curious, what's your take? Like, do you feel like you were born with something special that gives you the ability to be the kind of chef that you are?
No.
Really?
I don't. I mean, one of the things, my story is that I dropped out of high school when I was, 16 years old.
Right.
So I was terrible in school. And I shouldn't even use the word terrible. I did no schoolwork. So this is before we were testing kids for like, learning disabilities and stuff like that. And I definitely have something in that genre for sure, but I didn't even know it. Nobody knew it.
Right.
And it was one of those things where like I had no interest of opening an English textbook and learning. Zero. I would rather go hang out with my friends, get in trouble, whatever we were doing. But schoolwork was not a thing. So like I would fail every subject in school, not because I was handing in bad work, because I was handing in no work. I mean, I barely ever did homework in my life.
Right.
And then when I got kicked out of school a couple times, then I finally just quit. I was a good athlete in school, so like it kind of kept me in the mix. But for the most part, I didn't want to be there. And at some point, they were like, you're not doing any work. You got to go.
Yeah.
So my father said to me, well, you have to get a job. So I got a job in a restaurant, just coincidentally.
Yeah.
And not because I knew I wanted to cook. And you have to remember, this is 1980, or whatever it is. It's like, It's like food in this country was not an important thing. It wasn't. Being a chef was not on the list of like, attorney, doctor, lawyer, like there was it wasn't like that.
Right.
And so I just needed a job. And so, but very, very quickly, I realized that I was enjoying what I was doing because I was working with my hands. I needed vocational education. And so I think that like, I always say to people, and I think like to your point of how like your first freestyle when you're 10 is obviously so less polished than it is today. You learn through life.
Yes.
You learn through living life. And so when you tell stories, you're bringing. When I hear you tell your stories through freestyle, I hear you telling stories of things that you've experienced. Because how else could you know it?
Right.
Right. And you could read a book, of course, but living the life
It's
and
that
all
direct experience.
Exactly right. You know, it's like, and you bounce off people, which is what
100%.
I do all the time too. Like when I'm doing a cooking demonstration, it's complete. That's my freestyle. Ooh. I could be in front of 500 or 1,000 people in South Beach, and I always say to the organizers, I was like, I'm gonna teach this cooking class, but I want mics in the audience because I want people asking me questions and I want to bounce off them back and forth.
Yes,
and that's when the flow starts going.
100%.
You know?
Oh, that resonates with me so much. I mean, you can see it in my videos when I'm freestyling for people. The energy that's coming back to me, that's what fires me up.
No, well,
you know?
To me, the funnest part is, I'm like, I've watched plenty of your videos. I know you're gonna kill the 3 or 4 words. We know that's gonna get taken care of. But when you pull somebody's T-shirt into the game or something like that, they're like blown away.
Right.
That's the magic trick. That's when they're like, wait, where'd the card go?
Exactly.
You know?
It's so true. It's also somewhat ironic because rapping about people's outfits is actually relatively easy compared to figuring out how to bring the words in.
Yeah.
It's always the part that's easier for me is most impressive to the audience, which is funny. The other thing is, it's like you say, I am sort of like a sleight of hand magician. That is somewhat how I think about it, where I'm kind of steering everyone's attention this way. It's like, okay, he's going off the words we gave him. And as soon as that feels like maybe it's a little predictable or you kind of see how I'm putting it together, then it's like, here's something happening in real time.
Right.
Or here's somebody's outfit or
that's the thing.
It's that juggling of where your attention is that kind of keeps it interesting.
Because they think it can't be true.
Right.
That's the thing that's so crazy about it. And then you do something like that and you're like, oh wait, it is. but to me, the hardest part, like for what you do is like, not only are you referencing things right in front of you or things that are happening right in front of you, but like you make them rhyme.
Yeah, I mean, you have to.
I know, but that's so incredibly hard.
Oh man. Well, look, I could never do what you do. I wanted to bring it back to something you said. How in the '80s, when you're younger, when you're growing up, food isn't that big a deal necessarily.
Yeah.
Right. It's not in pop culture in the same way that it is today. What do you think it was? Because I know you were fascinated by cooking at a young age. I read, you asked for an easy bake oven for Christmas when you were a kid.
It's kind of a famous story, yeah.
So what was it, do you think, that drew you into it, even though it wasn't so popular in the zeitgeist?
Well, the easy bake oven, I think had nothing to do with my wanting to cook. It was just like really good advertising. I was a kid watching like, back to school specials. And I was like, wait, hold on. You can bake a cake with a light bulb? I have to see this. I mean, that was basically it,
Okay.
But I think what drew me to cooking.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, nothing really drew me to cooking until I started working. And then I remember waking up one day and staring at the ceiling, laying in bed and saying, you know what? I really am looking forward to going to work today. It was like the first time I was excited about something in my life like that.
Yeah.
Because I hated school so much. I mean, we would have this, like I'd meet my friends early in the morning before school and we would get on the 77th Street subway station in New York City on Lexington Avenue. And the only reason why I say that is because we used to see Keith Haring tagging up in the stations. I mean,
wow.
This is like that era, and it was like so cool. And we would make this bet with ourselves, basically, like if we can't, because the trains are always crowded for rush hour, like packed.
Right.
And we were like, if we can't get on the first 2 trains, we go to breakfast. And I can promise you, we didn't try very hard.
Right.
We had a lot of breakfast early in the morning. And then we'd have to call the school and make believe we were our parents and be like, I'm sorry, this is Mr. Flay. My son Robert will not be in today. He's not feeling well. Thank you, Mr. Flay. Thanks for calling. Click. It was like, it was like part of our routine. It was ridiculous.
Incredible.
But when I started cooking, it was a whole new world for me. Like I was learning a skill. I was working with my hands and I was excited.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know more. And then I went back to school. I mean, I went to the French Culinary Institute in 1984, right. And I have to say, like, I was like, oh my God, I'm going back to school. How am I going to do this? But obviously, it was a different kind of school.
Yeah,
and basically, that's where I started.
Yeah, it's incredible. What relevance do you think formal education like that has for, aspiring chefs today? Is that still something where you feel like you got to do it? You got to go through this kind of training? Is it more optional now? What's your take on that?
This is so funny because I was doing a podcast with David Chang yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, who I've known for 20-something years. You know,
Yeah.
He's had such a remarkable career. And we debated this yesterday.
Mm.
He's like, a friend of mine's kid is going to CIA, and I'm like, why are you doing that? And he's like, do you think that kids need to go to culinary school? I was like, yeah, I do. Yeah. And I'll tell you why. I think there's nothing wrong with it. First of all, it's for the amount of time that you take out of your life to do something like that, I think it's worth it to have the foundation and I always tell people, like, no matter what I'm cooking every single day, I'm recalling things that I learned at school, the basics of those techniques. Every single day I cook something. It might not look and taste like what I was doing then, but the foundation is there.
Yeah.
And you know a lot about foundation because I can tell.
100%.
Right?
Yes.
You pull, like when you're like, you go back and you find something in your bag of tricks.
Absolutely.
And it's there for you.
Absolutely.
And I think that school does that for you probably in every way, except for me. But like for culinary, absolutely, positively.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes so much sense. Yeah, and it's so true with what I do as well. It's like, you know, freestyling is a language, right? And in many ways, I would imagine that cooking is a language too. And it's like you need to have your vocabulary, your core vocabulary that you use to express yourself on a daily basis. Sometimes you reach for something more poetic, you know, or something more inspired in the moment. But if you don't have that baseline and that core vocabulary at your disposal that you can grab quickly anytime you need it, you're going to struggle.
Yeah, well, actually, that's a really good point. And I tell people this all the time. I love Italy is one of my favorite places. I go there as much as I can.
Yeah.
I don't speak the language. I've tried. And again, I probably have my learning disability probably gets in my way. And I don't speak the language. I can kind of get by when I'm there to, you know, do the basics, you know, order coffees and order in restaurants and stuff like that. But when I go and cook in a restaurant there and the people in the kitchen do not speak English and I don't really speak their language, it doesn't matter. We're speaking the same language.
Wow.
Right?
Right.
Because and the movement, we don't even have to talk to each other. We know what's going to happen next, cooking next to each other in these professional kitchens.
Yeah.
And to me, the language of cooking is really, it's a global thing.
Yeah.
I can go anywhere in the world. When I was 17 and the guy who owned the restaurant said, I think you should go to the school, he said to me, I want you to understand something. If you learn this craft, it can take you anywhere in the world. And I literally had no idea what he was talking about.
Yeah.
But now I do.
Incredible. Do you remember the first time you cooked on TV?
Yep.
What was it?
Regis Philbin's show.
Really?
Yeah. When Regis was, you know, had that morning show with Katie Lee.
Yeah.
Katie Lee Gifford. This is a long time ago.
Yeah.
And my mom like knew Regis or something. I was like, how do you know him? She's like, I met him in some bar or something. I was like, okay, Mom. And she was like, he wants you to come on the show. I was like, okay. I mean, I was a chef in this little restaurant in the East Village called Miracle Grills, like 1988. And I went on and man, I was terrible. I mean, awful. I mean, because you're like, there's nobody training you to do something like that, especially then.
Yeah.
Like, there's no media trainers. It's like they're like, come on and make like some potato salad or something. You're like, okay, and you're just frozen in many ways. I mean, I got through it; it was fine.
Yeah.
But I remember being like, you know, there's no substitute for experience when it comes to this stuff, and that's why like when you talk about like what it was when you were 10 and what you're doing today. I mean, think about all the times you freestyle now.
Oh yeah.
Some are better than others, of course.
Yes.
Some of them you're like, I just murdered that.
Right.
And some of them you're like, that was just okay.
Yeah.
But, you know, it doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Experience.
Well, it's the thing. I think it's, you know, you're absolutely right. It's the hours and hours of experience. It's the repetition, right? It's ingraining all these different techniques in our minds. And I think for me, like you say, there's fluctuation. Some days you're really on and you're killing it and you know it.
Yeah.
You just get that feeling. You enter that flow state, right?
Sure.
You enter that zone. Other days, it feels a little bit more difficult. My goal is to always build out a level of headroom, right? So it's like, I'm aiming to hit way up here every time. But if I fall short of it and I land here, this will still be a professional level. You know, that's my goal. So it's like, even on my worst day, hopefully I can still show up and perform at a decent level. Do you feel that kind of fluctuation for yourself as well in the kitchen? Like some days you show up, you know you're about to crush it. Other days, maybe you feel a little off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's like for anybody, you know, when they're trying to do something creative like that, you know, it's like you have amazing creative days and you have days where like, when did I stop learning how to cook? Like, so seriously, you're like, and chefs, we talk about this stuff all the time. It's kind of like, what do they call it when writers can't write? It's
writer's block.
Writer's block.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you have the pen in your hand and you can't even write the first word.
Yeah.
And then when you get going, then you flow through it. But like the same thing for cooking. It's like when I'm doing a new menu or I'm opening a new restaurant, I'm training everybody. Okay. So like to me, my philosophy is don't tell, show. Show them how to do things. If I told you how to cook a dish versus how I showed you how to cook a dish, it'd be a completely different dish.
Yeah.
There's no way. So I teach everybody by showing them how to do things. And like, you know, if I'm having like, we're doing like 10 dishes that day to kind of, you know, to put on the menu coming up. Like there'll be 2 dishes. I'll be like, what was I even thinking? These dishes suck. And just like, you know what? Edit, take them out. Yep. And like sometimes we'll try to make them better, and then you get to the point where you're like, this just doesn't work. And also, I got to listen to the people around me.
Yeah.
Because the people around me make me better. So like if my chefs and my cooks are like, Bobby, I'm like, this dish is amazing. And they're like, what? Like, and like we'll debate it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'm wrong. And they're right. You know, I mean, I had a famous story where, famous for me, that, you know, I opened a restaurant. This is 1993.
Okay.
It was a Spanish restaurant called Bolo.
Yeah.
And I created this dish. It was a duck and lobster paella. And it like had all these fancy ingredients and the saffron and this and that. And the New York Times restaurant critic came in. And I told everybody in the restaurant, whoever would listen to me, my staff, the customers, I was like, this is going to be the signature dish of the restaurant. And the New York Times restaurant critic came in, gave us a great review, except she wrote an entire paragraph about how badly she felt for the lobster, because the lobster couldn't figure out a way to climb out of the bowl.
Wow.
Right. Because she was like, this dish misses 100%. And
Wow.
and I will admit that everybody around me, before we put it on the menu, were like, this is not working. I was like, you guys are wrong.
Right.
Like this is going to be the dish.
Yeah.
I took it off the menu. I mean, you know, it's like, but you have to try.
You have to try. And isn't that funny how that works? It's kind of, I feel the same way. It's like, I often don't have any clue what's actually going to work or what isn't, you know? And there've been so many examples of it in the past. My first freestyle video that went viral was back in 2017. It was called Venice Beach Freestyle Part 1, because we had a second part in the vault. And I almost didn't post it because I was watching. It was the opposite thing where I was watching it and I was like, this isn't that good.
Right.
You know, I don't think people want to see this. It's too.
Well, you're your toughest critic, right?
Yeah, I'm my own toughest critic. And, you know, but there have been just as many, if not more times where we're like, oh, this is the one. This is crazy. This one's going to go totally viral, and we post it, it doesn't do anything.
Right.
You know? Yeah, exactly. So
happens.
I don't know what that is. Do you think it's because we're so close to it?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's part of it. There are certain things that when you're watching and listening to what you're saying, you're like, oh man, that was cool. But people miss it because like you're flowing through it really quickly. So they're looking at it as a whole. You're looking at it through a microscope.
Yes.
So there's definitely, and I'm doing the same thing when I'm cooking.
Right.
I'm like, I can't believe these 2 ingredients work together. This is going to blow people's mind.
Yes.
And then I'm like, how come nobody's ordering this dish? And, you know, it happens.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of the same thing as like when I was explaining how incorporating the words creatively is actually more challenging, but calling out somebody's t-shirt or watch is what's going to get the biggest reaction from the audience, right? I feel like sometimes when you get good at something because you've put in years of work, you take for granted some of the more foundational skills that are just so embedded that they don't impress you anymore.
No.
But sometimes those are the things that are most important to our audience.
Yes, of course, because I mean, the problem is that you're so good at this that people don't believe it.
Right.
So they're like, oh, that person was like, you know, put into the crowd, or he already did he already did this 10 times before he's doing it now.
Yeah.
But then when you just like call out somebody randomly, they're like, oh wow, that's the blow. That's, you know, that's when you're blowing their minds.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. And likewise, I mean, what you do is absolutely incredible. My cooking skills are almost non-existent.
Do you not cook at all?
I cook at home.
Yeah.
But, you know, basic stuff.
Yeah, that's okay.
You know, and I can't really improvise. I don't have the language yet, you know, so I go off. I'm excited to dive into your new cookbook, which we'll talk about in a bit here. But speaking of that, is there like one concept that you would be able to share that might immediately improve my my ability in the kitchen?
Yeah, well, first of all, like I think, like I always tell people who really want to be better at home, I'm like, you need 5 dishes. You need like, I mean, I don't know what your tastes are, but I always say like, you need like a chicken dish, you need a steak, you need a salad, you need a fish dish, you need a pasta, like,
boom.
And then And then just like we were talking about foundationally, like once you have those dishes and you start nailing those dishes, then you'll do things that are derivatives of those dishes.
Sure.
And all of a sudden your repertoire goes from 5 to 15 to 30. You know,
Yeah.
now you got it going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like I always think like you just need like total simplicity when it comes to cooking at home. And the thing that I think that separates a home cook from a professional cook is aggressive seasoning. Like if I season something with salt and pepper versus you're gonna go like this.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be like, boom.
Yes.
Because I want it to taste like something, and I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Dude, yes, I feel that because my stuff is bland, man.
Exactly.
My stuff is bland.
So as a concept, when you're looking at a recipe and it's got like avocados and like let's just say you're making guacamole. All right. So you have the avocados. You have some green chilies, whether it's like serranos or jalapenos. You have fresh lime juice. You have some diced red onion, some chopped cilantro, and salt and pepper.
I'm getting hungry. Yes, this
Right.
is great. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's 5 ingredients, and you know when you read somebody's recipe, it won't have enough cilantro, lime, and jalapeno and red onion in it. I promise you.
Yeah.
Not the way you want to taste it.
Why do they do that? Why do they go conservative in the recipe?
Because that's the way they think most people want to eat. You're a person of impact. I think you should cook with impact too. Okay. So I'm seriously. So just when you're the next time you're at your stove or you're at your cutting board, you're gonna think about this and you'll be like, oh, it says to put in half a jalapeno in here. I'm putting the whole thing in. Like just up the ante and the ingredients. The avocado is the base.
Yep.
It's the creaminess. It's got that texture.
Yeah.
And it's gonna hold on to all those ingredients really, really well. But it's gonna have a lot more flavor. And then your friends, when your friends come over, they're like, Harry, this guacamole's killer. Like that's what you want. They're gonna crave it and they're gonna eat it all the way through.
Hell yeah. I love that. Thank you, man.
Sure.
I got to ask you this because you're a New York guy, grew up in the streets of New York. In your opinion, where does the New York slice rank in terms of culinary excellence?
Pizza slice?
Yeah.
A1.
Woo!
I mean, come on.
I agree.
I mean, that's a layup.
Oh, easy. It's the best.
I mean, and also there's something happening now in New York City when it comes to pizza. There's all these kind of new, younger people making amazing New York style pizza. I mean, they're when I say they're New York style, they're not the New York style that I remember like delivering when I was a kid. You know, I was a delivery boy for a pizza parlor, but you know, they're slightly different. They're using better ingredients, so to speak, but they still has that New York thing happening. So like one of the most classic old school New York City pizza places is Joe's on Bleecker Street. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. You've had a couple of cocktails. You've been out with your boys. You go there. It's delicious. It totally hits that craveability factor. You know.
Yeah.
There's a new place called Lindustry in the West Village, and this cat is from Tuscany actually, and young guy named Massimo, and he's just making, I think, like some of the most delicious pizza I've ever had. Period. Wow. Now I will tell you, and this is controversial. I always say that the best pizza in New York City is actually in Jersey City. There's a place called Razza, R-A-Z-Z-A, and this guy is making, I mean, listen, it's like anything else. Food is just getting better and better and better at in every category. Just because there's young people who are thinking about things differently and they're just making the food better. Yeah. And the New York slice is, I mean,
it's ridiculous.
It always works.
It always works. It's top of my list.
Do you spend time in New York?
I do. Yeah. My wife's family lives in New Jersey, actually. So we're out there sometimes visiting them, and I try to spend some time in New York. And I mean, New York's the birthplace of hip hop, man. So it's a special place for me to visit. I love getting out there. You talk about how food is just getting better and better all the time. Question for you: how much energy do you devote towards, staying up to date with, let's say, the current trends in the culinary world, as opposed to saying, hey, I know who I am and what I do, I'm just going to deliver that at the highest level possible?
I think it's really important to reinvent yourself within who you are. Constantly, this is going to sound funny. I think Madonna's done it better than anybody over her career. Yeah. I mean, I remember dancing next to her at Danceteria downtown in New York City. I mean, she was Madonna. Everybody knew who she was, but she wasn't Madonna yet. Right. I mean, she just had this energy, and she basically has reinvented herself decade after decade after decade after decade, and she's stayed relevant no matter what. Maybe sometimes more than others, but she just understood who she was, but she also gave you something new to kind of mess with to keep herself in the limelight.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I have to do the same thing. You know, I have to continue to evolve. You know, when I came on the scene in a really heavy way, I was 25 years old. I had this restaurant called Mesa Grill. It was open for like 25 or 26 years in New York City. And, you know, having a restaurant for that long in New York City is a very tough thing to do.
Yeah.
But, you know, as time went on, I started getting interested in other things. And like I was saying before, like Italy has really won my heart over in so many ways. Not just the food. I love the culture. I love the people. I always say this to people, I'm like, only in Italy can somebody like sit down and drink an espresso for 3 hours. I mean, and you know, and in our country, we're like running, trying to like make the next dollar. Like we don't ever stop.
Right.
But when I go to that place, my entire body just relaxes.
Yes.
Because it's just the culture won't allow you to run that fast.
Right.
You know, and it's so wonderful. So of course I've been really into the food, of course, and I've done an extensive amount of research and obviously in eating and cooking there. And I opened my first Italian restaurant about 3 years ago at Caesar's Palace called Amalfi. And I mean, it's, you know, so like I continue to evolve. But if you came to Amalfi and ate the food and you were eating my food at Mesa Grill prior to that, you'd be like, oh, this is Italian food, but I know Bobby's cooking this food.
Yeah.
Like it would have a lot of the things that are important to me. Like I cook with impact, right? So when you eat my food, like you're gonna know you're eating something. Like there's flavor there, there's balance. I'm not looking to burn your mouth out, but I can find a chili pepper in any country in the world. And so like I was using all these chilies from the southwest of the United States and of course Mexico when I was cooking at Mesa Grill. But then when I went to the Italy idiom, like I was using Calabrian chilies to flavor things, and so people know that they're going to still get impact even though it's Italian.
Yeah, I love that. Your voice still resonates through. It's kind of, I think, because I'm from my background is playing jazz drums. A lot of people might not know that. I've been into jazz as long as I've been into hip hop. And
I love Guru.
Oh yeah, woo,
that's like
rest in peace.
No, I know.
Yeah,
but that kind of music,
jazzmatazz.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
man. Incredible.
Like totally caught me. Like when I like somebody turned me on to it years and years and years ago, and it's like it's still in my playlist. I mean, it's so fabulous.
Incredible, man.
Yeah.
No, I respected Guru. He's incredible. Love Gangstar, all the old records.
Yes.
And he did a great job of bringing jazz musicians into the fold in a way that was really organic and authentic to both sides. You know, like the jazz heads could rock with it and the hip hop heads,
right?
Which I think hadn't happened as much prior to that. So, but you know, I think about somebody like Miles Davis, and it's so similar to what you just said, where Miles reinvented his sound completely, like 3 or 4 times over the course of his career. But that voice, the sound of that trumpet coming through the record, you always know it's Miles Davis.
Well, I have to. That's so funny you brought up his name because in another review in the New York Times, when I opened my restaurant Gatto, that was the last restaurant I've opened in New York City. The critic of the Times at that time came in, and he actually used a reference to Miles Davis to me in the kitchen, which I was like so humbled and blown away by.
Yeah.
The fact that he would even like think about that person and me at the same moment, but you know. I guess it's sort of like one of those things where like I just don't stop. Like I'm always trying to. It's not like I'm trying to. Like I'm worried about the people behind me. Like I love watching young people do their thing.
Yeah.
I was the young chef at one point. I mean, I was so young that people would always say he's too young to be successful. So I don't ever listen to that. So when I see young people doing things that are amazing, I always make sure that they know I feel that way if I can. If I get close enough to them, I can tell them. Just like you. I reached out to you because I wanted to tell you in person how amazing you are.
I appreciate it.
And so I don't know. I mean, I don't know where we're going with this, but like...
No, yeah. I think that's awesome that you give so much support to the young up-and-comers. How has, like, you know, YouTube and social media and stuff like that impacted the culinary world? Because I know there are so many huge YouTube channels that are based around food and essentially cooking shows, probably inspired in large part by some of the programs you've had over the decades.
Yes, absolutely. I'll tell you something interesting, though. When people on digital platforms cross over to like the food television world, it doesn't necessarily always translate.
Yeah.
I think it's a different viewer. It's probably a different demographic in general, and so and so I always say, like, it's okay for everybody to kind of stay in their lane
Sure.
and be successful in that lane.
Right.
You know, we always want more. Like, how come I'm not doing this? Why didn't somebody ask me to do that? I always tell people, like, you can't do everything.
Yeah.
You know, stay focused. Listen, I certainly felt that way for a really long time until at some point I was just like, I'm just going to stay exactly where I am. There's plenty to do here.
Yeah.
And be really good at that.
Yeah. I respect that so much. And I relate to it a lot too, because it's kind of like, for me, it's like, okay, you're the freestyle guy. Where's your hit record?
Yeah.
You know, why aren't you on the radio? Or,
Right, exactly.
you know, when are you going to drop a classic album? You know, and it's like, hey, you know, there's room for all of it. And I think I have to lean into where I'm the strongest. And like you say, focus on my own lane.
I'll tell you something interesting.
Yeah.
Because I was watching you, sell tickets for New Zealand.
Yes.
Right. So because I'm on the Food Network, like in the United States, people know who I am. If I went to New Zealand, I would sell 2 tickets.
Wow.
To 2 Americans who live there. But you have this digital global stage.
Yeah.
Which is even bigger, in my opinion, obviously. And listen, it's all going there anyway. I mean, it continues to grow in that way.
Right.
And so sometimes I always tell people, like, don't actually ask for things that you really don't want.
Right.
Like, you have an amazing platform that's completely global and it's just growing.
Oh,
and also, you don't know. I mean, I always tell people, like, people say to me, I want to do this show. I have my own production company, so we produce all my shows and we produce other people, whatever.
Yeah.
So people come to me all the time and pitch me shows, and they say to me, "Where do you think this will air?" I said, "It doesn't matter." I said, "I don't know.
Yeah.
Make good content. Content is king."
Yes.
Okay. Pizza is king in New York. Content is king in media business.
Yes.
If you make something good,
Yeah.
okay, and I'm sure you've experienced this in your career.
Yeah.
It will show up in the place it needs to show up for
Yes.
people to see it. We don't know what it's going to be.
Right.
We don't know. Like, if I said to you, 15 years ago, we're gonna do something for TikTok, you'd be like, "What's that?"
Right.
We don't know what's on the horizon,
Yeah.
but something's on the horizon,
Yeah.
and it's going to replace something else.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
If you have good content, it's going to be there.
I love that, man. I love that. And I feel like that's what you did with the whole television thing. I mean, you are the TV chef, man. Like, you took it to places that I'm sure people couldn't even fathom at the time that when you do your first thing with Kathy and Regis,
Yeah.
I'm sure nobody could imagine where it would be today.
Including me.
Yeah.
I mean, when they announced that there was going to be a 24-hour Food Network, I literally thought to myself, this is going to last a week. What are they going to talk about? Obviously, I was 100% wrong, and thankfully.
Yeah.
But, it was a startup cable network.
Right.
I mean, they had no money. I mean, luckily I was in New York and I had gotten lots of accolades for my restaurant, so they knew who I was, and like I could get there by subway. They weren't like flying you across the country to go be on TV.
Yeah.
They had no money, so it just happened to be in the right place at the right time. But taking advantage and taking those opportunities and making them your own, that's the moment. Like, everybody gets an opportunity. Make sure you, like, I always say, like, when you get there, be ready.
Yes, absolutely. You've had so much success in the TV world and outside of the TV world with your own restaurants. Your talent speaks for itself. You're clearly a master of what you do. And yet, some people in the culinary world, I've heard you speak on this, have maybe judged you negatively for the sheer fact that you are so prominent on TV, as if that somehow takes away from everything you've done. Where do you think that negativity comes from, and how do you deal with it?
Well, I'm sure you deal with it too.
Yes,
okay.
We all do.
Exactly. So, we're in the same. We're on the same couch.
Yes.
But listen. It comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Couple of things that happens. So I always feel like when you're successful, people spend a lot of time trying to figure out where the holes are, right? Because, I mean, unfortunately, I wish they spent more time just being better for themselves.
Yeah.
But instead, they're spending a lot of time trying to figure out, where the holes are in somebody who they're upset that they're successful. Okay, that's the classic thing. So for somebody who's on TV as a chef, I mean, it's so easy to say, hey, listen, I mean, he's not a real chef, he's a TV chef. It's just an easy thing. They take your skills away. They just grab them and they throw them out the window.
Right.
Like, oh, he's just good on TV and he's making us believe that he can cook. I got past that a long time ago. Now, I will admit, of course, I'm sure you feel the same way sometimes. You're like, why are people doing that? Why are you saying that? Like, I can cook, goddammit.
Yeah.
It's like, But the people that know, and that's the most important thing. And actually, David Chang was talking to me about that yesterday. He was like, everybody wants the street cred and this and that. He goes, but the bottom line is the people that know that you can cook, know you can cook. Listen, that's why I started this show called Beat Bobby Flay. You want to take me on? Have at it.
That's right.
And those people don't show up.
That's right. They don't, man. Nobody can beat you, man. Come on.
No, they can beat me. I don't mind if they beat me, but I want them to show up in the schoolyard.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. I love that. Well, you know what? It is. It's therapeutic for me to hear you say that because I deal with the same thing. Everybody who puts themselves out there in a real way, they deal with this. And it's actually very relatable. There's a connotation around being, a so-called YouTube rapper, right? Sure. It's like, oh, he's a YouTube rapper. He's not a real rapper. He's not really part of the culture.
Right,
like
exactly.
He's not really down with this hip hop thing. And I get where it comes from. I understand the sentiment, but at the end of the day, I know who I am. I genuinely love this art form, and I'm trying to contribute in a positive way. So.
You do.
Oh man, thank you.
You do. You listen. I mean, listen. As you know, as I said to you before, I'm a huge hip hop fan.
Yeah.
And so, I think what you do is incredible.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. I'm curious. Do you watch The Bear?
Of course.
Yeah. What do you think of it?
I think it's really good.
Yeah.
A lot of times, the media will ask me the question about do you think it's authentic and this and that? I think, well, first of all, they were very smart because I think they utilized a lot of people in the business to consult to get a real sense of what was really happening there. The idea is that he's this hardcore chef and he goes through all the trials and tribulations of being that and all the people around him. And so, yes, do I think it's 100% accurate? No, of course not. It's TV, so there has to be some drama that probably wouldn't take place in a restaurant. But there's definitely some real life things happening there, and it's enjoyable to watch. I'll tell you something ironic.
Yeah.
Literally in the first 10 minutes of the series, in episode 1, I got a mention, and not in a great way.
Really?
Yeah, because
I don't remember that.
Kind
I
of
saw it.
Kind of like what we were talking about just now, which was his cousin was giving him a hard time. This is when they were early. This is the first episode, but this guy came with some real street cred as a chef.
Yeah,
and he was he said something to him. He's like, "Come on, Bobby Flay," and he's like, "Don't call me that."
Wow.
So they christened me day one.
No way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you must have been mentioned so many times through the years in shows and skits and all kinds of things. Right? I would imagine.
Definitely. I think my favorite one was when I mentioned The Sopranos. When The Sopranos was on,
classic.
It was this is when you had to Sunday night you had to get around your TV.
Yeah.
My phone has never blown up more in my life because you didn't know what was going to happen, so everybody's watching at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's unexpected, and it just kind of rolls off the guy's tongue. I was blown away. It's
my God.
that happens every once in a while.
Yeah, that's incredible. Dude, I love it. Such a great show too. But I think with The Bear, right? It's so popular right now. I've been watching it. A lot of my friends are watching it.
How do you feel about it as somebody not in the business?
I think it's awesome. I love the show.
Yeah.
It's incredibly entertaining. I was curious about the authenticity part.
Sure.
It's always going to be that way. Like I said, I have a background as a jazz drummer, so people ask me about Whiplash,
Yeah,
It's
sure.
I think it's a great film. Do I notice things where I'm like, okay, that's not really how they would count off the tune, or this doesn't really happen, but doesn't take away from the fact that it's a great film,
No. And also it gives some popularity and some credence to that business.
Yeah,
right.
100%. It's good. Yeah, and it's funny because us jazz musicians will complain about nobody cares about jazz. They never put us in the pop culture,
Right.
And then the second they do, we're like, they got it all wrong.
Exactly. We're pure.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Oh, it's funny. But I do think with The Bear, it shows this kind of intense, chaotic side to the behind the scenes of a restaurant. And I think, when you add that to, maybe Anthony Bourdain and people like that who have shared in their books maybe some of the darker side, some of the toxicness that can sometimes exist maybe in kitchens, some of the addiction there and stuff like that. In the current climate and in your experience, how much of that is real as opposed to just maybe our perception of it from the outside?
I think every industry has, sort of bad moments for sure. Listen, I think that I'm a lover of my industry because it's done such great stuff for me. I mean, it's given me a career, it's given me a life. I mean, and all the people that I've worked with throughout the years, I mean, they've been amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, and we're like a brigade, it's like we're working very closely next to each other. it's like we're in the fight to the end. It's like when like there's a phrase called "in the weeds," which is like, you know, there's 5,000 tickets here, and like you can't see your way out of it, and people aren't getting their food, and it's like a nightmare.
Yeah.
And then you basically like look at each other and be like, let's do this. It's almost like you're down by 20, and like there's 4 minutes left, and you guys look at each other in the huddle like, let's make this happen. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, and look, you know, kitchens can be, you know, hot and sweaty and not like the greatest, you know, places to work physically. But I say for the energy of it all, for the creativity, for the camaraderie, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
It gives me goosebumps when you talk about it, man.
Yeah.
When you talk about that being in the weeds. And
I'm a line cook by trade. That's what that's why I can do the things I do on television in competition, whether it's Iron Chef or Beat Bobby Flay or anything like that. It's like when you come at me and you say, I'm going to challenge you to this dish, I'm like, okay. I'm not afraid to lose either.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Right.
That's a lot of people are afraid to lose in my business.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't want to come on the show because if I lose, it's going to make me look bad. I'm like, it's really not. It's how you lose. And I always tell people when they come in or people that ask me to mentor them in any way, shape, or form, I'm like, if you go and compete on TV, just remember one thing. If it doesn't go your way, just lose well. Because people don't really watch how you win. They watch how you lose.
Huge.
Big deal.
I love that, man. I love that. Your daughter is a good cook as well, right? You guys actually have
She's
a cookbook?
okay.
She's okay? All right.
I mean, you know, listen, she's my heart. I mean,
yes. And
Sophie, like, she's getting better because, but I will tell you that this is so crazy. We have so much to talk about because Sophie, when she was a kid, you know, she's 28 now. So when she was a kid, I would say to her, like, let me teach you how to do this. Let me teach you how to do that. And she'd be like, all right, Dad. And we'd go shopping and we'd go get like to like make a cake or something. And I'd like get all the ingredients together and she'd put her bathing suit in and jump in the pool. And that was the end of it. Like she never had the focus to do it because she was always like, my dad's a chef. I don't need to do that.
Right.
Okay. So then she graduated college and, you know, she started dating guys and this and that. She's like, Dad, this is like ridiculous. Like everybody thinks I should know how to cook and I don't know how to cook. I was like, your fault. Like you had me at your fingertips and you let it slip through.
Yeah.
So now she's cooking a lot on her own, like at home and stuff like that. And like, you know, and really kind of going for it. But the craziest thing is like, you think she uses my cookbooks? TikTok, YouTube. I mean, that's where she's getting all of her recipes, you know? Yeah. It's ironic, but you know, that's the way of the world.
Yeah. No, I think, you know, it's that thing. It's like when you're a kid, sometimes what your parents are trying to impart on you, it's like, you don't want to hear that. No. You know, you're like, all right, Mom, all right, Dad, you know, I'm doing my own thing.
Of course.
You know, I don't need this.
No, of course. But like, you know, like she'll call me up and ask me like, how do you clean an artichoke? Like she'll, you know, because she can't figure that out on YouTube. But like every once in a while, like I'm sure there's something out there for sure. But you know, and now she's really starting to love it, you know. And, but so she's. I wouldn't say she's a great cook. I'm not ready to give her that credit yet. She's got a little work to do.
Okay, fair enough. We'll wait on that. You mentioned how, you know, you dropped out of high school to start your career. Do you ever think about how, you know, the school system might be changed or adjusted to be more supportive of people like you who, you know, aren't understanding school but have this burning passion they want to go out there and pursue? What are your thoughts on that?
We need more vocational education. I mean, I'm not going to get in my soapbox about it, but that's really it.
Yeah.
Not every kid learns the same way, and including me. And we need kids that want to be crafty, you know, with their hands and make stuff. And find a career in that particular way, as opposed to like, you know, just opening up, you know, books and trying to figure out, you know, studying and then recalling it. Like it doesn't always work for everybody. Yeah,
I completely agree. We did this test in 5th grade. I remember it was for the states and the capitals. And it was like, we're just going to keep taking it until everybody passes. And I was like, I cannot. It's funny because now I'm like a memory guy, you know?
Of course.
Everybody puts that on me. But back then I was just like, I couldn't bring myself to care about the state capitals. You know, I just didn't see why I had to know them all.
Yeah.
I think subconsciously that's what it was. But at the time I just struggled and struggled. We kept taking it. And eventually it's like me and one other kid. And then that kid gets it. And then it's just me. And the teacher was like, okay, I think we're done with the, you know, she luckily, at least she didn't make me keep taking it by myself.
Of course.
But I just couldn't get it. So yeah, everybody learns differently, man. And we got to be accommodating of that.
I mean, a lot of my classroom work was okay, Mr. Flay, we need you to write, I will not talk in class 4,000 times in a row. I don't know if they still do that.
Like
to
the
kids.
intro to The Simpsons.
I literally had to do it like 4,000 times. Like,
Yeah.
like pages and pages and pages, you know?
Oh, man.
It's crazy.
That's absolutely crazy. Oh, dude, I love it. So you have a new cookbook coming out. This is your 18th cookbook.
Yes.
Amazing. I have it here. Bobby Flay, Chapter 1. It's beautiful, man.
Thank you.
I'm a huge fan. People might not know this. I'm a huge fan of art books, coffee table books.
Sure.
I like going to store. There's this cool store in LA where they only sell like this kind of book.
Right.
And I spend a lot of time there. It's very inspiring to me. The photography in this thing is beautiful.
Thank you.
Talk to me about this book, man. What's going on?
So this is the book I'm most proud of. I mean, and I trust me, I don't say that every time I have a new book out, but this book is something that I've been thinking about writing for a really long time. And you know, like a lot of times, like publishers will ask me to write my memoirs and stuff like that. I'm not interested in doing that. Like, but there's essays in this book for lots of things, and I wrote every single word of this book. I mean, I have a co-author, but she just kind of like shaped it to make sure like the publisher got what they wanted. But this book was really important for me to write every word. And so I talk about Mesa Grill, I talk about Bar American, Gato, like I talk about Beat Bobby Flay and Iron Chef when it first all went down. And I picked 100 of what I feel to be my most important recipes over the years, most of them from the restaurants. And I updated them for today. But they're not easy recipes. This is not like Bobby Flay at home. Okay. This is like a very, like these recipes have like lots of steps and they're very, very beautiful. But like this is definitely, as you said, a coffee table. This is a gift book. Every recipe has a full page color photo.
Yeah.
So it's gorgeous. And the thing I love about it is when I took it out, when they sent me the first one, I just picked it up. I was like, yep, this weighs enough. You know, it has that heft to it, you know?
100%. Oh, it feels great, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited to check this out. We already talked about how my cooking skills are not, you know, anything crazy yet. I'm going to try to be more impactful in the kitchen at your recommendation.
Yes.
Do you have a recommendation for a recipe I should start with?
What do you like to eat? Like fish, meat? Like what's your thing?
All of the above, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a steak in there that I
Okay.
think there's a porterhouse steak in there with this like Korean red pepper paste glaze on it and this triple chili butter on top. It will like it's a showstopper.
Yes.
And like you can cook it in a cast iron pan, serve it in the cast iron pan.
Yeah.
Like you got a bunch of your friends around, just put it in the middle of the table, drop the mic.
Fire. Very excited to check that out. By the way, have you ever been shocked in your career by a flavor combination that you thought would never work and it did? And I ask you that, my sister went to college in New Orleans and I went to visit her years ago and we went to this great restaurant and she was like, you have to try this. And it was an alligator cheesecake.
Whoa.
And in my head, I was like, that sounds disgusting.
Right.
And it was delicious.
It was?
It was delicious. It was like a savory kind of, it wasn't like a dessert cheesecake. Somehow it worked. But I'm just curious, you know, you obviously have so much context for the science of flavors and how they come together and all that. Are you ever surprised or shocked these days where you're like, there's no way this can work and yet it does?
Yeah. I mean, for sure. But, you know, one of the things that I think is like, one of the things that drives me crazy about some of these competition shows is they put all these ingredients together that don't go together. And they don't go together.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't go together.
Right.
And they're like, let's see how good you are. Okay, so basically what happens is people wind up making mediocre food. I have a show called Triple Threat where I give the chefs 2 ingredients. I don't cook on the show, I host it. And the ingredients always make sense together. And it blows their mind because they're like, potatoes and blue cheese, I can think of 1,000 things. Exactly. Go. Let me see what you got.
Right.
What choices are you going to make this potatoes and blue cheese the greatest dish ever?
Yes.
And so I look at it in the opposite way. I don't want to stump people. I want people to really I want them to kind of press all their skills and make it happen.
I love that. Well, Bobby, I gotta say, I'm so appreciative for you coming on my show, man. Your career is inspiring. I'm a fan of you and everything you do, and I'm sure so many people watching this are as well. And hearing a little bit more about your story is incredibly inspiring for me, man. I've loved jamming with you today.
Thank you so much.
Of course, man. I always close this show out with a freestyle. You know, I got to do my thing.
Okay.
I want us to collaborate in some capacity.
Okay.
So I'm gonna need you to maybe throw me some words.
Okay.
If you're up for that.
How many words do you want?
Let's take I don't know, three or four. 3 or 4. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Or if you want to throw me words from the book, we can do that too.
Well, I'll give you. I have a couple ideas.
All right. Hit
Yeah.
me.
You ready?
Yeah. Hit me.
All right. Motown.
Yes. Motown. All right.
Anchovies.
Anchovies.
Chapter 1.
Chapter 1.
And what was the other one I wanted? I thought about this.
You're prepared. I love it.
Oh, caviar.
Caviar.
Yeah, that's 2 food words. I know you don't like food words.
You know what's funny is I say no food or animals.
Yeah.
That rule is completely irrelevant for the
Okay.
Bobby Flay episode.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? No, come on. We got to get food.
Caviar, anchovies, chapter 1, and Motown.
Yes. Caviar, anchovies, chapter 1, and Motown. I'm ready. And I'll summarize some of the things we talked about. You mind throwing these headphones on just so we can be, you got some right there.
Yes.
We'll be in this together so we can both hear the beat. Check, check, check. 1, 2. Let me know if you can hear me.
I can hear.
Is that volume okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, beautiful. I'm going to drop this beat. My friends, Flow State Podcast, Harry Mack, the great Bobby Flay. We're going to send this thing home. Let's do it.
I'm so excited.
Caviar, anchovies, chapter 1, and Motown. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. When I spit, y'all, I stay in the zone. I don't write it, I recite it off the top of the dome. Said I built it on my own from the bottom to top. Every time I rock, I be hitting the spot. I make it felt. Y'all know I be rapping hard. I hit MCs with battle bars. When I'm finished, all these cats are scarred. I'm top shelf, this is rap caviar. Mack next level, y'all know they gon' beg for these styles while I birth a verse like fish eggs. I be next level with it. Y'all know why they should serve me at the restaurant. Beef with Harry Mack is what they never want. Now check the way that I be ripping these bars. I swear my style is deserving of the Michelin stars. Mack all up in it, I take it beyond. When I'm rhyming, I'm composing with the craziest songs. I'm here with Bobby Flay and the flavors are enriching. If y'all can't take the heat, get out the kitchen. Yeah, you seen him on TV every season. You know the name of the show, y'all can't beat him. Well then again, maybe you can, cause this dude keeps his humility, he knows how to lose. It's not about how you win, it's about how you lose in the end. That's why all his peers choose him as friend. Yeah, break it down for all of y'all whenever I get busy. When I be rhyming right off of the mental, got them spinning till they dizzy. Yeah, I do it on my lonely, the one and only. Rapping some small fish like some anchovies. Meanwhile, Harry Mack is the shark. Yo, check out these lyrics that my bars will spark. I be coming off the top of this, my rhyme's about to reach ya. Anchovy, controversial topping for the pizza. Yeah, but y'all know we about to roll the dice. Top of the list would be the New York slice. I told y'all my man Bobby don't play, son. I asked how's the pizza slice rank, he said A1. Yeah, check the way I'm rocking it quick, it's gotta be swift. We push it to the top of the list, y'all best believe me. I'm rhyming off the top, it's looking easy. I love to eat some pizza, but my bars are never cheesy. Whenever I spit this, I open your eyes and help y'all witness. When I rhyme, I'ma work it out like fitness. I'm getting to the digits, I know it'll go great. See my eyes shifting side to side, he's in flow state. Breaking it down, I'm a master, son. My lyrics heavy weighted like the book, chapter 1. Y'all gotta check it out, I shine like a fixture. A coffee table book with beautiful pictures. 100 recipes, the best of his career. And you can have it all up in your home right here. Open it up, illest chef, you know he's been that. He was telling me, Harry, you gotta cook with impact. Y'all know I be doing it nice. In the kitchen, I'ma add some additional spice, yeah. Cause these recipes online, they be testing me. Why they so conservative when they type in their recipes? Yo, hold on, we not done. One time, yo. Bobby, how we feeling?
Amazing.
Let's go.
I'm shook.
Okay. Yo, leaving them shook. It's one for the books. How long it took? Only a minute. Y'all know that my skills are infinite. I never been timid. I'm about to blow your mind with this strong verse. I'm an all-star, just like my man up in the Converse. Shout to the homie named Flay, cause I'ma do it something like a fish fillet. Yeah, every time I rhyme off the dome, they know it's major. They call him Bobby Flay, cause Flay's for flavor. Hey yo, we about to turn it up another level. When it come to freestyles, the Mack don't settle. Yeah, I'm about to put that flavor in your ear. Something like Craig Mack, I hold this rap thing dear. From here to New York, he was roaming in the streets with his homies, with his crew. They was roaming as a fleet. They wasn't going to school. They was calling on the phone saying, this is Mr. Flay and Bobby's here at home. Yeah, just to let the teachers know he wouldn't show up. When I'm on the mic, y'all know I'm about to blow up. I take them somewhere different. Y'all know that I've been the dude. I got knowledge like the French Culinary Institute. We gon' graduate and get the baseline vocab. Every time I spit off the mental, I make them go mad. Throwback to another era.
era. Whenever the Mack is rhyming, y'all know that I'm bringing the terror. And y'all know I got to grip up on the MIC and perform. I mean, this man is from the place where hip-hop was born. Hey, you know my freestyle stay dominant. And he broke me off with the illest type of compliment, saying I remind of a previous time when I shine. I got the mind of Einstein. I combine information, win by every indication when I throw down. Do it from the soul, Motown. Every instrumental about to get destroyed. They feel me from Los Angeles to New York to Detroit. Whenever I get busy, no mistakes, I don't blunder. In the style of Motown like Stevie Wonder. Yeah, cause y'all know they can't believe the hype. I do it like Stevie, play it in the key of life. I'ma break it down for all of y'all. I come hard with freeze over beats of chopped R&B. I'ma break it down for y'all like chopped parsley and add some extra flavor in it. Y'all know I'm major with it. I'm coming right off at the top of this. I got the raw bravado. I was getting hungry when you was talking about avocados. Gotta add a little more pepper. Y'all know that Harry Mack is about to check ya. I get busy, I find words for a verse, but he can find a pepper anywhere on earth. Yeah, take him out to Italy, he'll do it with simplicity. Y'all know when I rhyme, aliens visit me. Y'all know that I spit it in a godly way. Flow State, Harry Mack, and Bobby Flay. Let's go.
Oh my God. Dude, that is fucking insanity.
Thank you, man.
Holy hell. I can't believe I just witnessed that.
Oh, thank you,
No,
man.
seriously. That is nuts.
Thank you. Thank you.
I feel like you really brought it today too, man.
I had to,
I mean,
bro.
that was crazy.
No, you know what? That conversation really inspired me,
I'm
man.
glad to hear that.
And I'm not gassing you at all, man. I loved hearing from you today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bobby Flay.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. That was so great.
Oh, man.
What a great afternoon. Thank you so much. Man.
Oh, no, thank you, man. Incredible.